Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Lock Shop. Thank you very much for being here today. Dusty with you. I'm in the plaid because the Edmonton Oilers got to get to work, right? And people work when they're in plaid. A lot of people don't chill in plaid. They work in plaid. So that's what we're doing here today on the Lock Shop. Huss is going to join us. P Greggy is going to be by. We got Zurich Classic picks. We'll dive into some golf in the second half of this show. First half will be all hockey, maybe a little sprinkling of NBA hoops in there as well. The oil stream today at noon, and we will dive into Game 2 even more, and then we will get into the EST afternoons, and then a 3.5-hour Reed Wilkins show. That will go from 3 until 6:30 tonight, and then the GCL Diesel pregame show from 6:30 to 8 with Tom Gazzola. He will be at Hudson's at West Edmonton Mall on Bourbon Street. I'm going to be there. Trev's going to be there. Eric's going to be there. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt even maybe pops by a bit. And then Hernan was just like, Dusty, are you going to Hudson's tonight? I said, yeah. He goes, I wasn't going to come, but if you're going to be there, maybe I'll come. I said, come on down, sit at the wood with us and have a dart, you know, like, so yeah, I think he's going to be good to go as well. So that is also exciting. We will see what happens. The Oilers skate today. Already some rumors out there that we will see Evander Kane and John Klingberg tonight. Jeff Skinner and Josh Brown likely to come out. And I would think you can probably expect Stuart Skinner between the pipes tonight, but we'll confirm that when they hit the ice for the skate. That'll be happening partway through the oil stream today. And it should be a great oil stream. Lots to discuss to set up this game tonight. We will take a look at the Zurich Classic. It's a unique event, and it has been for like the last 8 years. So Patty will join us to set that up around 11:30 today. The EST parlay for tonight's game. And if you like the Oilers to win tonight, I think you should probably ride with us on this parlay. If you go to coolbet.com, of course, Coolbet, our official betting partner here at EST and sponsor of the Lock Shop, that exclusive is already up. McDavid and Draisaitl, 2 points each. Bouchard with a point, and the Oilers to win at plus 455. Now, I will be livid if this doesn't cash because of the Bouchard point, because I was going to be more than happy just rolling in here with McDavid and Draisaitl 2 points each after that third period they put together in game one. How could you not? But Lieutenant Eric this morning was like, what about Bouchard? What about a Bouchard point? And he did have 3 points last game. I have not been able to confirm with the Coolbet crew just yet if he does have a turnover that leads directly to a goal against. Can we get credit for the assist in like a special Bouchard boost? That would be interesting. But we've got McDavid, Draisaitl, 2 points each, a Bouchard point, Oilers to win tonight, plus 455. That is your EST parlay, and you can find it on the exclusives page. Greggy's golf special is already up. We will get to that when he hops on with us as well. Shout out to LeBron cashing that double play at plus 160 last night. Lakers get a old school low scoring playoff win that you just don't see much anymore last night. That was a big win for them. Haven't checked the series price in that one yet this morning. I don't know if it's been, it has been updated. Let me see here. Yeah, Lakers minus 120. That's probably a fair number. That's probably where it should be at. Lakers minus 122. T-Wolves at plus 100. That is going to be a long series. All right, let's bring in Huss from WST today. Huss, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. This 2-day break in between games has me a little off. I knew this was going to come. You know, we had the day off.
That second day sucks, doesn't it, man? Like you have the recap day, and then the next day is like no man's land, and then preview day.
Practice report. And I mean, the good thing is that there's been so much awesome hockey. There's no shortage of things to talk about right now. Really fun night last night in the NHL. A couple big wins. big upset with the Wild in Vegas. Did not see that one coming. And then obviously some great games tonight. So we will wait. I guess from a Jets perspective, it's not the end of the world knowing that they're playing without Velarde and without Ehlers right now. So, I mean, some extra rest in between these games, I guess, is good. But just for fans and for those of us that cover the team, you get off to that great start. You want to get right back at it. But we'll have to wait until the late game tomorrow night to settle in for game number 3. But we got a big one tonight for your Oilers. I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, big one for the Oil tonight. We will look into that before Patty joins us around 11:30. Then we'll obviously talk some golf with P Greggy. We'll obviously get into that Toronto-Ottawa game with him as well. But from the NHL last night, you mentioned surprising win there and a nice win for Minnesota. Battle of Ontario last night. Ottawa played really well for a good 40 minutes in that hockey game.
And 5-on-5.
Yeah, 5-on-5. Special teams, not the case. But Huss, I know Travis Green was like, pretty confident, heading back home. I get it, they're heading home. But like, if you're going to pull off the upset along the way, those are kind of the swing games that you got to get as the underdog. And I wonder if that one ends up being a big-time difference maker in this thing.
Well, for sure. I mean, listen, if they had managed to find a way to score an OT and bring it back at 1-1, I mean, it is completely series on. But hey, credit to the Leafs for getting it done. I want to talk about redemption. I mean, Domi getting the winning goal after being a main culprit in the turnover that led to the tying goal by Gaudette. It's kind of funny how that stuff works. But listen, Ottawa has to, here's my takeaway from this. And I mean, I don't know whether the LA Edmonton game was quite there as far as just how physical and, tight these games have been in the West. But I saw Dylan Cousins try to poke check Max Domi, and then Drake Batherson do a flyby on Max Domi before he scored the OT winner. And I was sitting there with my buddy watching the game, and I'm like, that there is 0% of that happening right now in this Winnipeg St. Louis series. I mean, you're getting hit twice. Like, never mind.
Like, both of those guys are getting a piece of you. There's no way Domi should have got that puck where he got that puck after the way he came across the zone.
Listen, I mean, the Minnesota-Dallas series, and it sure as hell was the case last night between, the Colorado-Dallas series, and it sure as hell was the case last night in Minnesota, Vegas. And it just seems like some of the hockey that we're seeing in the East is just sort of a different brand. And I mean, the Sens are learning the hard way. Like, that's going to be a quiet trip home, knowing what was available to them and how, I mean, they basically just allowed Max Domi to walk in and rip the OT winner without paying any sort of a price. So, listen, they're a young team. This is their first time in the playoffs. They're learning some lessons. I mean, the Leafs have been there year after year and have learned, I think, a lot of tough lessons as well. So I think with Berube on the bench now, they're more settled down to still be in the moment and not feeling the nerves and the pressure that comes along with being the Leafs in the first round of the playoffs. But my takeaway from the Ottawa side was, you got to play every single play. I mean, that was in overtime. That wasn't even in the first period or something like that. Like, I've watched it a few times, and I just can't believe that those guys were so light on the puck in overtime. But I tell you what, their crowd will be fired up when they get back there. If they can win game 3, we'll have a fun series. And if not, the Leafs can do something that, Winnipeg is in a similar position, and going on the road after being up 2-0 and trying to go for the jugular and end a series early, because as we all know, what's coming next for Toronto and Winnipeg, if they win, is a really, really good team in your division. And if you want to go deep, I mean, the ability to have a short series early on helps in so many ways. With less wear and tear, because every one of these games, at least in these West series, teams are paying a serious price. And there's a huge benefit to not going 6 or 7.
You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. If you are listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, that's how you can get a hold of the Lock Shop, 780-218-9999. Over the Nasty Chat. Huss, I guess maybe an all-time bad read from me on Tampa. The Tampa in 5 is going to need a lot of work. Florida comes out last night. Matthew Tkachuk, huge impact, return to the lineup, 2 goals, an assist. And I mean, I know it's super duper early in these playoffs, buddy, but Florida looked like Florida last night.
Oh yeah. They now listen, after Tampa had tied it at 1, they really carried the play for about 10 minutes. I think they'd had 11 straight shot attempts in the game, but they weren't able to get it through. And listen, Vasilevsky, for all the incredible play that he's had, and you can say the same thing about Hellebuck, you can say this thing about Shesterkin. Every now and then a couple get past you and it just is not going your way. And that was last night for Vasi. I don't take too much away from this other than the Panthers, once again, are ready for the playoffs, know what it takes to win, and are going to be a very, very tough out. But I do think Tampa will have a much better response in game number 2. But hey, Florida, I mean, you get Tkachuk back. I mean, that lineup as presently constructed with everyone there. Hey, there's a reason why they're there. What did Ric Flair say? To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
And right now, the man right now in the NHL is still the Florida Panthers, and they reminded everybody of that last night.
Anything else from last night's game, Sus?
Well, the Ottawa flyby in OT had me. I've been shaking my head. I'll say this about the Wild. I watched that whole game as well, and early on, Aiden Hill made a couple of absolutely massive saves.
Those were insane saves.
And I was on the verge of texting Lawless going, wow, Aiden Hill sure came to play. And I didn't even press send yet. And one went in and then then they kept coming. And it seemed like he just sort of kept them in early. Vegas wasn't good enough early on. I mean, Gustafson made a couple saves, but I mean, that line now, keep in mind, Minnesota's been playing with 14 million less on the cap. Then they go through their entire year without Kaprizov for half of it and Jeek for the last 25 games or so. And now they get those guys back. And it was part of the reason why when we were here in Winnipeg talking about, well, who do you want to play? I mean, the Jets have owned Minnesota in the last couple seasons. Minnesota only scored 2 goals in 3 games this year against the Jets. So, I mean, you wouldn't think that would be a really tough matchup, but then you see what they're able to do now. And, dude, they beefed up that top line with Kaprizov, Eriksson, Ek, and Boldy playing together. I mean, they're like the Oilers going full nuclear option, but, oh, my God, are those guys good. And they're going to account for a lot of offense. And if the rest of their team can keep things to sort of 50-50, they're going to have a chance to win this series, which is crazy to say. Vegas is going to need to be a hell of a lot better in game number 3 when things shift over. And they have to find a way to keep that line down because those guys seem to be on a mission. The saucer pass from Kaprizov to Boldy on that first goal is, I mean, you want to talk about a world-class play? That was it. And they just kind of kept going after that. So while I hate the Minnesota Wild, I begrudgingly have to give them their respect of what they were doing and how good they looked last night. And that top line, if you're throwing those 3 guys out there, that's a line that can compete with any line in the National Hockey League.
I always look like that play by Kaprizov. Like, to me, it's only the elites of the elites that separate themselves with those types of plays, right? It's Kucherov, it's McDavid, it's Draisaitl. It's like, and then when you have those guys, man, 2 or 3 of those plays a game can just make such a significant difference. So we do have the slate tonight. Go ahead, buddy. What are you gonna say?
I wonder what we're gonna see out of Vegas for the rest of this series. Like, listen, they've been really good all year long and they won the division, but I just think back of Winnipeg going in there about 2 weeks ago and beating them 4-0 and talking to Gary afterwards and listening to Cassidy. Like, it seemed like they had just been okay. They were going to get first place and they were kind of doing things more their way as opposed to what the coach was looking to do. And they got sort of exposed last night. It was funny to see them give the Wild a taste of their own medicine at the end of the game with all the cheap shots and the punch in the face to Kaprizov. I usually hate that when star players get whacked like that. But that is the MO of the Minnesota Wild. So the fact that it came back to them, I did get a little chuckle out of it. But man, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who I think we all expected to steamroll in this series, that was a major reality check last night against the Minnesota Wild.
You know, Danny C over in the chat. And if you're watching on YouTube today, sub to the Edmonton Sports Talk channel and pop on over and sub to WST as well, Winnipeg Sports Talk. If you haven't yet, sub to Huss's channel. Danny C over in the chat says the Wild only finished 5 points behind the Avs, and they played like half the season without their stud.
Exactly.
Right? So, yeah, that's interesting.
Like, it was amazing that they were able to make the playoffs in the uber competitive West with a skeleton lineup, not to mention what they were dealing with on the cap. I mean, I did look at that, and as a Central Division guy that has to see this team all the time, and is probably our biggest rival, it didn't make me feel good knowing that they've got a really, really bright future. They got that Z Boyum that just joined the club as well.
He was moving well last night.
Dude, the guy is absolutely, he can fly. I mean,
watching
really
him bring that puck up the ice, I was like, oh man, another one of these guys, eh?
How about that? First game in the NHL. Welcome to the Stanley Cup playoffs in the Fortress against Vegas.
You can get through that, man. You'll probably be okay. We'll get to the NHL slate tonight. Then we'll have Patty join us to talk some golf, and we'll get his thoughts on the Battle of Ontario, obviously. Huss, I've had this in my notes all week. I haven't got to it yet. Because every year you do pick an NBA team, and people have been wondering, like, hey, Dusty, has Huss thrown his support behind a team for the playoffs this year? I'm curious. Have you decided to find your Nuggets this year or somebody?
It's funny you say that, because I have been completely fixated on mainly Winnipeg, St. Louis, and the Stanley Cup playoffs. But we did talk about just the nature of these playoffs, how like there's like three teams that have really short numbers, and then everyone else is really long. I think I'm sort of I'm going to go into the East.
Ooh, an East team to ride with Huss. I like this because I have no allegiance in the East. I'm with you on whoever you pick.
Well, that's for me. I mean, like, listen, I guess you could make an argument. Maybe Golden State's sort of fun right now at 15-1. Obviously, there's a Lakers at 19-1. I mean, if we're looking at a team that has the talent that might be able to do something special, I mean, obviously, I'll be pulling for SGA and OKC, presumably, and most. I do like Denver, but man, Denver's at 40-1 right now. They just fired their coach. I mean, they might not get out of the first round. The team that I think has been overlooked, to me, they're the Winnipeg Jets of the NBA. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cavaliers guy.
The Cavs had a great run all season long. They had this gaudy record. And I mean, listen, still, they're the third shortest number to win the NBA title. But listen, if everyone thinks it's going to be Boston versus Cleveland, I love cheering against Boston. So I'm going to go with the Cavs. I'll put a little sprinkle on the Cavs to win the East at plus 175 right now. And then, as I say, if they make it all the way and they're going up against OKC in the final, I have a little bit on them, but would be a win-win either way. But I mean, the Knicks, they lost the Pistons. By the way, just the Pistons, did they not lose like 30 in a row last year?
Was that last year they were that bad?
Yeah.
Really? That was last season?
They were 2-1 and then lost 28 or 29 straight games. And now they're a playoff team and got the split. I got a soft spot for the Pistons right now. And that series is plus 170 for Detroit. So I'm here for the Pistons kind of resurgence, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cavs in the East. I would love to see them beat the Celtics and make it to the NBA Finals. How can you imagine if the NBA Finals, and again, this could absolutely happen, was Oklahoma City and Cleveland? I mean, when you just talk about markets and fan bases and things like that. I
mean, some insanely talented players on those two rosters, but it's still Cleveland and OKC. And it's interesting. I don't know if you saw it, but like the first weekend of NBA playoffs was the most viewed they've had in 25 years, which I kind of surprised me. I mean, now, with that being said, there are some great first round matchups, especially in the West. So
definitely.
maybe we
And that's
shouldn't
why
be too surprised by
they're going
that.
to be fixed for the Lakers and for the Warriors moving forward, because those teams, I mean, they spike the numbers.
Well, they'd
They
have to meet in the
all
second round. They'd have to
stars.
meet in the second round. So only
And
one
when
of
I
them.
say
Yeah.
when I say fixed, I mean obviously I'm joking, but
No.
don't think that the people in the NBA office aren't kind of pulling for a few of that. You know, the one team that is not really like that, although from a big market, is the Clippers. I mean, no one really cares about the Clippers. No one has ever really cared about the Clippers. I mean, they kind of made their big thing with Kawhi and Paul George, and then they're actually really good now, though.
Yeah. They were amazing for the last like once Kawhi got healthy, he was like in and out of the lineup for 3/4 of the season. He got healthy, and they've been really good since. And I think that Clippers Nuggets series will be the best series out of anything NBA or NHL in the first round. Like I think every single one of those games is just going to be an absolute banger. So,
fine with Denver though. You know, in a lot of ways, just because you've got Jokic. You know, Jokic, it was interesting. I was listening to Simmons and Russillo. They both have Jokic for the MVP. I can't wait to see what the voting is going to be like, because we've sort of assumed it was going to be SGA all year. And listen, I think he probably still does win it. And there's his Jokic fatigue, but there's a lot of people that are pretty sharp that take their votes very seriously that still think the Joker was the MVP in the league this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you essentially average a triple-double and our top 3 in 4 statistical categories. I went off on a rant on this probably about a month ago on the Nielson show. I was like, because at the time SGA was like a huge favorite. And I was like, I just don't get it. Like Jokic just having an all-time season. And look, SGA, best team, leading scorer by a significant margin. Yeah. Like those usually get it done, but Jokic is having another like freak show year. So anyway, sorry for all the NBA talk, people. I know you want to get to the NHL slate tonight, and Patty's going to join us, but I had to know who Huss's team was, because some people have been asking, like, Dusty, find out who Huss is riding with this year. And there you go. Cleveland Cavaliers out of the East. I like it. All right, NHL action tonight, Huss. As I mentioned earlier in the show, the EST parlay is already up. McDavid and Draisaitl, 2 points or more. Bouchard point. And the Oilers to win, it is plus 455. That is basically a very recency bias third period continuation parlay. Mind you, if the Oilers would have hit the money line in game 1, the parlay we had, which was very close to the same thing, also would have cashed. Outside of this market, Huss, what are you thinking about this game tonight?
Well, I listen. I mean, I'm sort of right in that headspace of what happened in the third period, despite the end, bodes very well for Edmonton. Listen, this team knows that going back home down 0-2 is no recipe to win a series. I mean, to have to beat the LA Kings 4 to 5 times, including 2 more games in LA, is a tall task. So I think they got to have it tonight. And I think we saw just how good this team can be, even against a great defensive team like LA when the chips are down. I don't think it's going to take till the third period for them to wake up down 4 goals to make it happen. So I love the Oilers at plus 106 tonight. I'll be hitting that on a standalone, and then probably putting it together with a couple of these other games. You know, I'm really interested. The Dallas-Colorado game is going to be fascinating tonight. Dallas got that big boost. They were desperate. They had to win that game, and they did. There's the potential we might see the return of Gabe Landeskog tonight, and what a scene that would be. 3 years after hoisting the Stanley Cup, returning to action in the playoffs for the Avalanche would be really cool. But I'm kind of looking at that Dallas plus 158 number, and giving it some consideration. I mean, I like Washington at minus 182. I'm kind of not in on the Habs despite their comeback last game. Where are you at on Dallas, Colorado?
I don't know, man. I honestly, I don't know where to get on in that. I mean, I was kind of torn on that series before, and with the way the first 2 games went, I think tonight, I don't necessarily love the minus 189. But you know, if let's say
values there on Dallas.
Yeah. Considering what we've seen, the value on Dallas at plus 158, the better in me is like, man, that's a better number than I thought Dallas would be getting in this game. So I do like that at plus 158, but at the same time, I mean, if I don't have to bet this game tonight, if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably sprinkle the Stars at plus 158.
Well, the question is, do we want to put it with the Caps and Oilers in a 3-gamer that is plus 724 before a boost?
Man, plus 724. I just want to see. Yeah, I was going to say, what if we go Colorado on the chalky money line at home? It's plus 388. It's a huge difference there.
I honestly think that these games are going to be coin flips, every one of them.
I know.
I watched both games. They've been really, really tight. Dallas, as I said, I'm cheering for overtime in a 7-game series. Colorado got the split. I think this is probably going to be 2-2 heading back to Dallas. I think they get one of them. Why not tonight at plus 158?
Okay, so there's the plus 158 number. Any thoughts on the total in that game instead?
6.5. The first game was weird. There was a couple really weird goals. I'd probably take the under, to be honest. I mean, I think this is, despite all the incredible talent of these teams, I think this is going to be a really, really tight game that, teams aren't like, the star power is going to be able to generate a few goals, but both of these teams are good enough that, although, man, like Colorado on the rush can absolutely kill teams. And they've done a pretty good job on that so far. But I thought Dallas really buckled down. I guess it's been 7-7 in the first 2 games.
Oh, no, the first game was 5-1, so it was 6.
Oh, it was 5-1, not 5-2? Okay.
Yeah, so both of the first games would have been under the 6.5 in regulation, because obviously the overtime there. But I don't know. I mean, the Dallas, I'm with you, like split incoming in Colorado as well. And if we can get that number up to, it'll be almost 8-1 after a boost.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it. Let's roll with it.
I think this is worth a little swing on the Stars tonight. And again, if you want to just, have a little fun and, roll Oilers Caps, I mean, it's plus 219 on that. But it's the partner parlay. We get a nice boost. It's going to be close to 8-1. See what happens in those 2 late games. But the single bet, the favorite bet of tonight is definitely the Oilers, plus 106. I love the Oilers to get this done and get this thing back on even terms. So I will be definitely playing that on a single. But, if we can throw in the Caps, I feel pretty good about and take a swing with Dallas. I mean, instead of just betting a plus 1 fee of 58, we're going to have a big number if these other ones come in.
All right, it is Nielson and Huss. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. Sub to the channel if you haven't already, and hop on over and give WST a sub as well. Feel free to comment in there. Hersey Texan today at 780-218-9999 says, Hustler Dust, is Lowry and McElroy not the easiest lock ever of all time to win the Zurich Classic again? Like, if anyone is wanting to bet on any other duo, just stop and donate your money to me, and I'll put it to good use. So Hersey's already in on the PGA talk. We're definitely going to get to that. Pat Gregoire joins us from Coolbet right now on the show. And Patty, we're going to get to the Zurich Classic, but Battle of Ontario, Toronto's up 2-0. The floor is yours, my man.
Job's not finished.
Great mindset. Great mindset.
Mamba mentality here in Toronto. We know we've got the scars. Hey, if you look at the Deservo Winometer, that whatever Travis Green is looking at, they're actually 2 up right now and heading back home. I get it, a little bit of gamesmanship, trying to keep his troops all happy, but in all seriousness, Toronto's been playing a lot of low event hockey. They capitalize on their chances. They capitalize on their power plays. They give up a lot of shots, but low quality shots. Look at the shot charts. Either way you want to look at it, this team is playing the way that they've played for all 82 this year. This is the style of hockey Berube has played. This is why a lot of people feel like this team has a chance to go a little bit deeper. But the boogie monster in the closet, the scars, all are still there. So if you're a Leaf fan and you're already planning your plans for round 2, pump the tires. Job ain't done.
Man, Jake's over in the chat and goes, Mamba, baby. Was thinking the exact same thing. Look at you. Look at this. The Leafs win back-to-back home games in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're all Kobe Bryant. It's amazing to me. I love you guys.
Pat, what would have the reaction been in Toronto if the roles were reversed and a member of the Ottawa Senators went through. One of the Leafs just did a feeble poke check attempt,
Oh my
and
God.
another player just did a flyby on the OT winner. I mean, that was so bad.
Awful.
And like, that's bad in the first period in the regular season. To have that happen in playoff OT, I mean, those guys better have monster games in game 3. Cousins and Paterson. That was such a bad look. And hard to imagine. Again, I've just been watching maybe more of the West and how, like, there's no space. You got to fight for everything. And to see Domi just waltz through those guys for an OT winner. I mean, the Ottawa Senators did so many good things in that game. For that to be the way that game ended, I mean, it could kill the team, or it could really have them focus to come out and actually do what you have to do in the playoffs, and that's lay it all on the line if they're going to beat a good team like Toronto.
Yeah, I feel like that is the play that if this thing does end in favor of Toronto, not even just early, but even if this thing does go deep and Toronto wins it, I think a lot of Sens fans are going to look back at this game, look back at that point and say, man, oh man, if we could just have found a way to get a stop there and get a goal at some point. Yeah, the replays and the watchbacks is going to be a tough watch for Sens fans. The screenshot of Cousins down basically on all fours trying to poke check, and then an absolute all-time flyby from Paterson after giving up the puck as well to Simon Benoit, of all people, looking like Bobby Orr streaking up the ice there. That's what the playoffs is all about, the unlikeliest of heroes. And man, if Max Domi doesn't score that there, and even if Toronto does win or if Toronto loses, like the talk this morning is, what the heck's going on with Max Domi? He's awful. We can't find a spot for him in the lineup. He has been a bit of a struggle, but maybe this is the goal that sparks him and he starts playing better. But when you're up 2-0, I don't think you want to make too many changes, but it sounds like David Camp could be in the lineup. A guy like Nick Robertson only played like 7 minutes last night. So I think we're going to see some changes in the lineup. But again, I'm a little bit weary to make too many changes when you're up 2-0 in the series.
Hey, be honest. And Jake, let us know in the chat as well. How tight were the sphincters going into overtime?
like pinhole tight, like unbelievable, man. Just the way that so the first period, they come out flying. Like absolute dominance of 20 minutes. Second period, they were awful. No jump, no jam, a lot of pushback from the Sens. And then in the third period, they looked real sharp. Absolutely nothing was able to penetrate that defense. Everything from the outside. And then you see the fluky goal, the tip in, passes Stolarz, and everything's tied. And you're like, oh no, it's happening again. But yeah, it was a great overtime, couple chances back and forth, but Max Domi, maximum passion. Max Domi scores with his old man in the building. My God,
you guys, I just
quite the moment.
The Leafs, I just okay. Somebody texted, Jason texted, and it goes, ask Pat about Stolarz punching and slashing last night. Ridley, you guys hate Ridley Gregg, eh? Is that a thing? You guys must hate Ridley Gregg.
He's the worst. Stolarz, did you hear Stolarz after the game too? He goes, I was just, defending my crease. I didn't know who it was. Yeah, right. You exactly knew who that was. Maybe after the first hack and whack with the paddle, maybe you didn't realize, but when he skated back through your crease and you dropped the shoulder, you knew who that was. Yeah. Who would have thought? Would have wondered what the Coolbet odds would have been for the villain of the series. I think Brady Tkachuk would have been minus 1,500. Greg would have been pretty high there, but he has taken over as the series rat. Leaf fans, all of Leafs Nation, absolutely hate this guy. But I was listening to a friend of the program, JD Bunkus, his show a couple days ago, and I agree with him. He said, obviously you never want to see Stolarz because in game one, he magically blows a tire, runs into Stolarz and cross-checks JT in the face. You never want to see guys get hurt, but part of you is like, these characters, these villains, these guys you hate to hate. This is what makes the Battle of Ontario special. This is what makes the playoff special. You want that in the series. And from, an outsider's perspective, yeah, you want all the rattiness as possible. Sure, he is going to be absolutely hated forever now in Toronto, but that's what it's all about, man. That is absolutely what it's all about.
I will say this, from an outsider's perspective, it was an absolute joke that was coincidental.
That was evened up.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
He took four whacks and then just got blown up, did literally nothing, and it was 2-2. Now, listen, maybe that speaks to the fact that he'd been doing some BS earlier and they knew that was going to happen and whatever for the refs. But for a team that has been getting murdered on the Leaf power play, to have that happen and not get one the other way, I totally understood why Sens fans were very salty about what happened there.
Yeah, I think that was a reputation call. I think that's what you can call that one there. If it was anyone else, I do think that Stolarz is the only one getting the gate. The Leafs in game one, I'll say this, they got a pretty friendly whistle. At the same time, though, it's like you can't hit a guy from behind. You can't cross-check a guy in the face. I think just game one and then even part of this of game two, the Sens will try to be something that they're not. Like Timmy Stützle getting like 9 hits in game one. Like, I get it. You want to set the tone. You want to be physical, but it just felt like they were really like the temperatures were really up. And when Toronto's power play is playing so well, you have to temper those expectations. I think we're going to start to see, at least you think, it's a playoff game, for crying out loud. The amount of penalties that have been called in this series has been pretty unbelievable, which, again, I think Toronto only had the 1 power play yesterday. They go 1 for 1, and Ottawa was 1 for 3. So things started to simmer down a little bit. But I think when we see a little more 5-on-5 this series, I think we'll see things be a little bit closer like we did last night. But again, when you look at the charts, when you look at the numbers of the eye test, the one thing I think a lot of Ottawa fans are like, well, look at it, 5-on-5. We're right there. We've outplayed them here and there. It's like, yes and no. Toronto, they give up those shots. It's all low chance, low danger. They kind of lull you into that where it looks like it's a good chance, but Stolarz is there. There's no traffic in front of the net. He's going to eat it up all day. But it's the Battle of Ontario, man. This is what I was growing up on. These are some of the great memories that I've had as a Leaf fan cheering against Ottawa. I wouldn't mind a little more temperature, even more than what we saw.
All right. Should we get to some golf, boys? As you get into the Zurich Classic a little bit, I mean, for people who aren't familiar with it, Patty, bring us up to speed on the monster that is the Zurich Classic and what we need to expect and how we have to look at this thing.
Yeah, it is one of the most unique events on tour, I would say, because it is match play. It is a match play tournament. That's why you see the duos across here, and everyone knows that match play is something that a lot of golf fans really like. So it's down in New Orleans. We were there last year. Awesome, super wicked event down in New Orleans. Yes, it's crazy that if we're already a year, surpassed that. No Pendy this year. Adam Svensson is playing this year in this tournament. A couple other Canadian. I don't want to get into it too early, but there is another Canadian team that I think a lot of people are going to be on this week. But it's a really fun tournament, interesting format. We don't see all the big names, but I think we got to start here. As I can't remember who said it in the chat.
Hersey, this is not the most obvious bet of the year type of thing. Yeah.
You think so with the history that they have had here? They won this thing last year. Both of them are playing unbelievable. Rory, hottest golfer on the planet. Shane Lowry, with the exception of an absolute meltdown on Sunday, at the Masters, he's probably coming off a top 5 performance at Augusta. So it's really difficult, but at the same time, it's match play. A lot of crazy things can happen. A lot of putters can get hot. A lot of other teams can be in the hunt. So I'm probably not putting my money on plus 350 for them to win. Maybe it's a parlay where you want to get a piece of them to finish inside the top 5 or the top 10. I haven't been betting short odds all year. The first time I did it last week with Scotty Scheffler, it didn't do me well. So if they win and they win away running away with this thing, so be it. I missed out on the opportunity. There's too many factors when it comes into match play golf. I just think things can go south and other teams can catch fire going into the weekend. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here.
Did you see Lowry and McIlroy joking around where Rory was just like, yeah, he made a putt to get us into the final last year. And Lowry was like, yeah, but it was kind of short. And Rory's like, I've missed shorter ones. And it's just like, oh my God. It's so funny that you can joke about that now instead of living infamy for the rest of your bloody career. So
it's the post-Masters Rory, I'm telling you guys, is going to be he's freed up. Now, I don't know, and this is why I won't be on them at plus 350. I'm not sure whether this is still sort of in the celebratory time for Rory coming out, first event, back with the big guy. They're going to have a great time. They'll be playing to win. But, I mean, I don't know whether either of these guys, after the amount of golf they played, the stress of the majors, are going to be as dialed in as maybe some of these other guys that see it as a huge opportunity to get a win, on the PGA Tour. And make it happen. So, I mean, I'm going to look further down the board for my picks. There's two guys that I like. Dusty, I know Aaron Rye's been on your board many times before. I'm a Sahith guy.
I like this team.
This is the sort of event that just feels like really good players coming together, getting a little hot, can do some big things and some big damage. I mean, I'm seeing those guys are there at 22-1. I'll be jumping on that. And then the other team that I do like is Hollywood Hoagie and Billy Ho. And I'll tell you what.
Me too.
I'm
on both those teams.
I got Billy Ho and Hoagie too. I really like them. They're on the list here.
Hoagie is so good with his irons. And do we know, are they all playing their own ball? Is it as alternate shots?
It's the first day and the third day, our best score from the hole will count. And then it's alternate shots second day and fourth day, right, Pat? I was reading that this morning.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, correct. It's two different formats.
So listen, there is going to be a premium on placement and ball striking. I think obviously you're not winning if you can't sink putts. But you guys are going to get a kick out of this. I'm just thinking another little intangible. Who is a better team player than Billy Ho after leading the Atlanta Drive to a TGL championship? He'll be a great partner for Hoagie. So yeah, I mean, listen, I think the value is a little further down the board. If Rory and Shane win, I mean, yeah, okay, hand up. We didn't jump on the plus 350, but those are I'm betting those two teams: Hollywood Hoagie, Billy Ho, and Rye and Sahith at 22-1 for the Zurich.
It's so funny. You must have my notes here because those are two teams that I'm on, and it is in my notes that Billy Ho, the fact how well he putted TGL, how he was so good in. I think, and also the other thing is, like I said, we were at this tournament. This is. Yes, of course, these guys want to win, but this is a fun week for them. They're in NOLA. They're here to have fun. And who better, like outside of Bryson in golf, I think the one person who maybe has completely done a 180 and has changed the way people look at him, and this was from TGL, was Billy Ho.
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. I used to think he was a stooge. Now I love him.
Now, I think in this tournament where the crowd's a little bit rowdier, they play into the crowd, they're out there having fun. I think he's going to use this as an opportunity again to win. And he also was 1 year before. He won this tournament back in 2013. So I'm on those two teams, and I kind of teased it at the start. The other team I'm on, Team Canada, Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin, 33-1. This is the third time these guys have played together. Last year, they finished solo 10 And in the first year that they played 2 years ago, they finished solo second.
Yep.
Both guys, I know Hadwin's not having a very good season. Taylor's actually having a pretty strong season as well, but both of them are actually putting pretty well. They're both above average. They're both gaining strokes with their putter so far. So as you guys said it already, you're going to need to sink some putts. Who better than sinking clutch putts on the PGA Tour than Nick Taylor himself? And in terms of Rory and Shane Lowry, I think here's how I'm going to play it. At the end of day one, if they're not sniffing around the leaderboard, I think, and you can get them at 5 or even a higher number than that, that's probably where I'm going to bet them after a slow start, because I could see them slow.
Oh, there goes
Patty's roll
back
through. They probably enjoying everything that Nola has to offer. So I think it could be a live bet opportunity heading into the weekend for them to turn things on.
Guys, I'm just fooling around on the site. And if you are like me and kind of like, Rory and Shane plus 350, it's such a short number. You can use your 30% profit boost to get that number to, I'm just doing the math here. But it basically takes it from plus 350 to about plus 460 or so. So that certainly is a way to do it. I'm not going to go that way. And my big question is, Pat, who do I use it on? They're both 22-1, Billy Ho and Hoagie, or Sahith and Rye. I think I'm going to go Billy Ho and on Hollywood Hoagie for the bonus.
I like that.
It was funny because I was looking at this morning at some different options for this, and I saw Raj. You're right. I've been on Rye a couple times this year, but when I saw Sahith there, I was like, I know one of these guys is going to be on those guys, so I left that one off. I'm on Billy Ho and Hoagie. My other two are Hadwin and Taylor at 33-1, and then I a little bit on 18-1. Keith Mitchell and JT Poston. I think Killer Keith's coming off like a solo second in Punta Cana, and then Poston actually was pretty good at Harbour Town last week. I was on him at 66-1, and for a while there, what he put together, he was like 5 under. Was it Saturday he made his big move, or was it Sunday? Anyway, he's coming in pretty good form right now as well. Those two guys are 18-1. I like Billy Ho and Hoagie more at 22-1. But we're very similar cards here. So what did we put together for a parlay? This should come together rather easily, I would think.
It's just tough because, how many teams are there and where do we?
Yeah, 33 teams, I think, make it through to the weekend. Is that what I saw when I was reading it today? Let me see. I don't have it up anymore. But I think I saw 33 teams make it through to the weekend. 33 in ties or whatever.
Yes, I think you are right. Now, I know we don't have a top 20 offering currently, or did we end up opening? I don't know if we ended up opening it or not.
Well, I think it's tough because there's only the first 2 rounds it's score play and then they go to match.
No, they alternate. So it's the best score of the hole goes on the card for the first and third rounds. Alternate shot Friday, Sunday.
Okay, but it's just stroke play. It's not, they're not at some point they don't end up going just head-to-head match play, right?
No.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I think why don't we look at like the top 10 markets? Plus 225 for Billy Ho and Hoagie. Ryan Thigala's plus 225. What's the Nick Taylor?
Yeah, what's that Canadian number?
What if we take Taylor and Hadwin for a little Canadian content, and Hoagie and Billy Ho? So it would be plus 225 and a plus 280 together. Just take those two. It'll probably still be a pretty good number.
Oh, that would be a pretty good number if they're both in the twos.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say
plus 280 for the Canadians, plus 225 for the for Billy and
we're going T10, both of them.
Yeah.
What do you
think?
A little
bold. I like it. Let's go with it. I think we're probably looking at a 10-1-ish number somewhere in it there. I've got a Greggy's golf special this week. If we want to quickly dive into that, because I'm in on that. I bet you, if you're not on it already, get on it. Mine is I do already have these guys here, but Hadwin Taylor top 10. And then Bryson DeChambeau, top 10.
I saw that Bryson pop up in the combo card today. I was like, oh, look at Patty. Look what he's up to here.
Yeah, I think he has a big time bounce back after a disappointing Sunday at Augusta.
Hey, while we're just looking at Liv, I just pulled up the Mexico City odds. Bryson 5-1, Rombo plus 550, Hatton and Neiman 10-1. Reed, Sergio, Brooks, 16. Burmeister and Puig, 20. And 20-25 Munoz. Man, it's weird. You don't see these tournaments at all. We don't get them on TV, right? I mean, they apparently had this Fox deal that's going to be done. Like, all these guys have left. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the PGA Tour, the TV numbers have been massive. They had the biggest Harbor Town crowd in over 20 seasons last weekend. I think it's proving that the PGA Tour can lose those guys and it's not hurting them at all. And it does, like, I mean, I don't think there's any reason for them to go down the route of a merger now. I mean, the better that the tour does, the more that Liv fades into oblivion. They have all the cards. I don't think we get that, which sort of sucks because I'm not sure we're going to get this together. And then you wonder where Liv goes from here. Did they pull out a bunch of more checks and try and get guys? I mean, Rory's not going anywhere. Scheffler's not going anywhere. I'm not sure there's another guy in the tour that would listen. If John Rahm hasn't moved the needle, what more are they going to do?
Yeah.
So I don't know whether this is end game right now, but it is wild to see where the tour is, and especially with the momentum of McIlroy winning the Masters. I think PGA is going up, and Liv, I mean, is just they're off the board, as they say.
Patty, what's coming up WST today?
Well, I mean, sorry. Rumblings.
Go ahead, Patty. Chime in on this, then we'll get Huss to set up WST. I merged my two thoughts. I was coming to you, and then I
was just going to say. I was just going to say with the merger, we've actually even heard that there have been talks of like guys like Brooks, who's considering trying to see if he can get back into the PGA Tour or sit out a year or whatever. He's desperately wanting. I think he's done with it. Rahm, I think the ticket price is too high, but a lot of these guys I think are over Liv and really haven't been able to turn that switch on when it comes to the majors. It's
been bad for their games too. I mean, They just have not, with the exception of Bryson. It hasn't.
It's just been good for Bryson's brand, right? That's what it's done most for him. Like,
he's. I mean, but that's really what it's not. Like, Liv hasn't been good for Bryson's brand. Everything
Bryson
else
being freeing from that's
exactly, and being able to do that stuff, which I think would be a non-starter. I mean, I'm not sure the tour can kind of prevent guys from doing fun stuff like that, or at least they shouldn't. It's great for golf. It's great for the individuals. I mean, there's no lose. And I think they probably learned that lesson. But as I say, it'll be funny. Like, do I see one shot of Live Golf Mexico City? I would say the yes is probably like plus 1,000.
Yeah. I'll sprinkle it. I'll get on anything at that number. What's coming up on WSC, Huss?
Well, you know what? Just like I said before, we've kind of got this long wait before tomorrow's game number 3 in St. Louis. John Shannon's going to come on. We'll talk Jets, Blues, the rest of the National Hockey League. Brandon Rowicki, more on the Jets Blues series. And then King of the Buffet, handsome Tommy Gazzola.
Oh, boy.
Will be joining us.
The Buffet Band.
Hour 2. The Buffet. I mean, I saw the video where he brought you a fresh poutine complete with an apology. I guess that's because he completely hoovered yours earlier.
It's an admission of guilt of him like splitting half a poutine off a plate, eating his, and then going back and eating the half he'd left for me. So it's in the back. It's in the rear view mirror now. So it's all done. Anyway, so Tommy Gazzola today. Not a slow day for us here because it looks like Evander Kane is going to play tonight with Nuge and Hyman. And Connor and Leon will be united for game 2 right off the bat. So we've got lots coming up on the oil stream. It's going to be a fun one. Make sure you stick around for that. Patty, thanks for popping by, my man. And we'll chat again soon. That's going to do it for let's do it for the lock shop today. For Huss and Patty, I am Dustin Nielson. Thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow.